The jail cell was freezing. Lieutenant Naya Okafor pressed her finger to her lips. Shh, don't talk, as she stared through the bars at something that would change everything. In the cell across from hers, a Korean soldier hung from makeshift restraints, beaten bloody, barely conscious. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the 3 men in South Korean military uniforms standing over him, speaking in hushed, urgent tones, in North Korean accents. Naya's blood turned to ice. She was a medical officer with the U.S. Army, stationed at Camp Humphreys for a joint training exercise. She'd been arrested 2 hours ago on false theft charges she now realized were meant to get her out of the way, because she'd accidentally stumbled onto something in the base hospital, medical supplies being rerouted, equipment going missing, and now this. A spy ring inside the South Korean military, and they were about to kill one of their own soldiers, the one who'd discovered them. The soldier's eyes flickered open, meeting Naya's through the bars. Even through the blood and bruises, she could see the desperation, the plea for help. His lips moved soundlessly. "Help me." Naya made a split-second decision that would either save them both or get them killed. She started screaming. 24 hours earlier, Lieutenant Naya Okafor, 27 years old, born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, had dreamed of being a medical doctor since she was 12. Her father had been a surgeon, her mother a nurse, and both had instilled in her the belief that healing was the highest calling. She joined the U.S. Army at 22 after medical school, served 2 tours, and earned a reputation as the doctor who never gave up on a patient. Now she was in South Korea for a 3-month joint training program teaching trauma medicine to Allied forces. She loved it, loved the discipline, the purpose, the feeling of making a difference. And if she was honest, she loved the challenge of being a Black woman in a space that didn't always welcome her. She'd learned to be twice as good, 3 times as tough, and never ever show weakness. Captain Park Sung-min was her Korean counterpart, a combat medic with 5 years of experience and a reputation for being brilliant under pressure. He was also infuriatingly handsome, sharp jawline, intense eyes, and a quiet confidence that made him magnetic. They'd clashed immediately. "Korean methods are too aggressive," he'd said on day 1, watching her treat a training injury. "Korean methods are too conservative," she'd countered. "That soldier would have bled out waiting for your careful approach." Their instructors had to separate them, but over the following weeks something shifted. Mutual respect grew, then admiration, then something neither was ready to name. Sung-min found himself watching how Naya's hands moved, confident, precise, healing, how she laughed with patience in broken Korean she'd taught herself, how she stood up to senior officers who questioned her judgment, her spine steel wrapped in scrubs. Sung-min caught himself noticing how Sung-min stayed late to check on every patient personally, how he spoke softly to scared soldiers, how his rare smiles transformed his entire face, how he looked at her sometimes like she was a puzzle he desperately wanted to solve. "You're staring again," her colleague Lieutenant Sarah Chen teased one evening. "I'm observing," Naya corrected, but her cheeks warmed. "Girl, that man is into you, and you're into him. Why are you fighting it?" "Because relationships between officers in joint operations are complicated. Because I'm only here 3 months. Because you're scared," Sarah interrupted gently, "of what people will say, of getting hurt, of letting someone see the real you." Naya didn't answer, because Sarah was right. It started with medical supplies going missing from the base hospital. Nothing major at first. Antibiotics, bandages, pain medication. Naya noticed during inventory, but assumed it was accounting errors. Then equipment started disappearing. Portable ultrasounds, surgical kits, high-grade trauma supplies. Naya reported it to her commanding officer, who told her to stop looking for problems. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, so she stayed late one night watching the supply room. That's when she saw them. 3 South Korean soldiers in full uniform, loading medical equipment into unmarked boxes, moving with military precision, speaking in low voices. Naya started to approach to ask what was happening when a hand clamped over her mouth from behind. She was pulled into a maintenance closet, her training kicking in as she prepared to fight. "Don't scream," a familiar voice whispered urgently in English. "It's me." Sung Min, his body pressed against hers in the cramped space, his hand still over her mouth, his eyes intense and frightened. "Those men, they're not what they seem. I've been investigating them for weeks. They're North Korean operatives posing as South Korean soldiers. They're stealing supplies to smuggle north, and if they saw you, you're in danger." Naya's heart hammered, from fear, from adrenaline, from the feeling of Sung Min's closeness. He slowly removed his hand from her mouth. "When did you find out?" she whispered. 3 weeks. I reported it up the chain of command, but someone's protecting them, someone high up. I've been gathering evidence, but—" His eyes searched hers. "Naya, you need to stay away from this. These people are dangerous." "So you're saying I should just ignore it? Let them steal supplies that could save lives?" "I'm saying I don't want you to get hurt." The rawness in his voice made her breath catch. I can't lose you." "Sung Min!" Footsteps approached the closet. They both froze, barely breathing, pressed together in the darkness. Naya could feel Sung Min's heartbeat against her chest, matching her own racing pulse. The footsteps passed. "We need to go to the base commander. Together, show him what we know." "It's not that simple. I think the base commander might be compromised. Then we go higher. We go to—" The closet door flew open. 3 soldiers stood there, the same ones from the supply room. Behind them, Naya saw the base's senior operations officer, Colonel Han. "Well," Colonel Han said in perfect English, his smile cold, "this is unfortunate. Captain Park, I'm disappointed, and Lieutenant Okafor, you really should have minded your own business." They were separated immediately. Naya was arrested on fabricated charges, theft of military property, insubordination, conduct unbecoming an officer. The evidence was manufactured but convincing. Supplies found in her quarters, falsified reports, testimony from witnesses. She was thrown into a holding cell on base, awaiting transport to a military prison. Her phone was confiscated. Her commander was unavailable. No one would listen to her protests. Across the hall, she could hear Sung Min shouting in Korean, fighting his captors. Then silence. Ominous, terrible silence. Hours passed. Naya prayed, something she hadn't done in years. She thought about her parents back in Lagos, who'd be devastated by news of her arrest. She thought about her career, destroyed. But mostly, she thought about Sung Min. Please let him be okay. Please. That's when she heard it. 3 men entering the cell block, speaking in those wrong accents. That's when she saw Sung Min hung up and beaten. That's when she realized they were going to kill him and make it look like suicide. And that's when she started screaming. "Help! Someone help! They're killing him! Murder! Help!" Her voice echoed through the cell block. The 3 men spun around, panicked. One rushed toward her cell, fury in his eyes. "Shut up!" he hissed in Korean. "Murder! Help! They're spies!" Naya screamed louder, in English, Korean, even Yoruba, anything to make noise, to draw attention. The sound of running boots, guards coming. The 3 men fled, leaving Sung Min hanging but alive. Real guards, American MPs, burst into the cell block. They found Naya screaming and Sung-min nearly dead. Questions exploded. Confusion reigned. And in the chaos, Naya kept repeating, "North Korean spies! Inside the base! Colonel Han is working with them! Captain Park discovered it! They tried to kill him! Check his investigation files! Check the supply room! Please, you have to believe me!" The next 72 hours were a blur. U.S. Army CID, Criminal Investigation Command, and South Korean military intelligence descended on Camp Humphreys. Sung-min was rushed to the hospital, barely clinging to life. Naya was interrogated for hours. But then they checked Sung-min's hidden files, found his evidence, followed the trail. Colonel Han and 6 others were arrested, a spy ring that had been operating for 2 years, stealing military supplies and intelligence. The operation was massive, involving personnel at 3 different bases. Naya's false charges were dropped. She was cleared, commended even. But she didn't care about any of that. She only cared about one thing. "Where's Captain Park?" she demanded of every person who came near her. "Is he alive? Let me see him." They wouldn't tell her. Doctor-patient confidentiality, security protocols. He was in surgery, in recovery, unavailable. For 5 days, Naya didn't sleep. She pulled every string, called every favor, until finally, they let her into his hospital room. Sung-min lay in the bed, bandaged and bruised but alive. His eyes were closed. Machines beeped steadily. Naya pulled a chair beside him, took his hand carefully, and felt tears stream down her face for the first time since the ordeal began. "You idiot," she whispered in Korean. "You brave, stupid, wonderful idiot. You should have told someone sooner. You should have protected yourself. You should have—" "Couldn't let them hurt you." Sung-min's voice was barely a whisper, his eyes fluttering open. "When I saw you in that cell, I thought I'd gotten you killed. You saved my life. Your investigation, your evidence, it's what convinced them I was telling the truth." "No." Sung-min squeezed her hand weakly. "You saved mine. You screamed, kept screaming, made them come. If you hadn't—" His eyes filled with emotion. "You're the bravest person I've ever met." "We're both idiots then. A perfect match." "Sung-min," his voice grew serious. "When I was hanging there, thinking I was going to die, all I could think about was that I never told you, that I was falling in love with you, that these weeks working with you were the best of my life, that I wanted more time, more everything." Naya's breath caught. "Sung-min." "I know it's complicated. I know you go back to the U.S. in 2 months. I know there are 1,000 reasons why this can't work, but I don't care anymore. I almost died without telling you that I love you, and I won't make that mistake again." Naya leaned forward, careful of his injuries, and kissed him softly. "I love you too, you idiot. I've been falling for weeks, fighting it, telling myself it was impossible. But when I thought they were going to kill you," she cupped his bruised face gently, "nothing else mattered. Not careers, not distance, not what anyone thinks. Just you, alive, with me." Sung-min's recovery took weeks. Naya was beside him every possible moment, dividing her time between her duties and his bedside. She helped him through physical therapy, held him through nightmares, made him laugh when he was frustrated. The story broke internationally. U.S. and South Korean officers uncover spy ring. Both Naya and Sung-min received commendations, medals, recognition. But none of that mattered as much as the quiet moments of Naya reading to Sung-min in his hospital bed, Sung-min teaching her Korean phrases to make her laugh, their hands intertwined as they healed together. "What happens when you go back to the U.S.?" Sung-min asked one evening, his voice carefully neutral. Naya had been dreading this conversation. "I don't know. My tour here ends in 6 weeks." "And then?" "And then, I guess we figure it out. Long distance, video calls, visits when we can." That sounds terrible, Sungmin said bluntly. Naya's heart sank. I know, but what choice do we have? I'm U.S. Army, you're South Korean military. We have commitments, duties. Marry me. Naya's brain short-circuited. What? Sungmin shifted in the bed to face her fully, wincing through the pain. Marry me, Naya. I'm serious. We've been through hell together. We've saved each other's lives. We love each other. Why waste time with long distance when we could be together? Sungmin, that's crazy. We've only known each other 3 months. 3 months that felt like 3 lifetimes. 3 months where we faced death and came out stronger. 3 months where I learned that you're the person I want beside me for everything. Missions, meals, mundane Tuesdays, everything. His eyes were intense, certain. In Korean culture, when you know, you know. I know. Do you? Naya's mind raced. This was insane, impulsive, completely against her careful, planned nature. Her parents would freak out. Her commanders would question her judgment. Everyone would say it was too fast, too risky. But when she looked at Sungmin, at this man who'd risked everything to protect her, who'd been willing to die to keep her safe, who looked at her like he was her entire world, she realized something. She knew too. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. We'll figure out the logistics, the paperwork, the commands, all of it. But yes, absolutely yes. Sungmin pulled her down for a kiss that was far too passionate for a hospital room, but neither of them cared. Telling their respective commands was interesting. Naya's colonel. Lieutenant, are you insane? You're marrying a foreign national, someone you met on a joint operation? This will require extensive paperwork, security clearances. I know, sir. We're prepared to do whatever it takes. And if the Army doesn't approve the marriage? Naya met his eyes steadily. Then I'll finish my current commitment and leave the Army, sir. Captain Park is worth it. The colonel stared at her for a long moment, then sighed. Love makes fools of us all. I'll start the paperwork. But, Lieutenant, you better invite me to the wedding. Sungmin's commander was surprisingly supportive. Park, you found a woman who literally saved your life by screaming loud enough to bring the whole base running. And she's a doctor? Don't let her get away. I'll handle the paperwork. But the real test was telling their families. Naya's video call to Lagos was explosive. Her mother cried, happy tears, thankfully. Her father demanded to speak to Sungmin immediately, giving him a stern interrogation in English, while Naya's mother whispered encouragement in Yoruba in the background. You will treat my daughter like the queen she is, Mr. Okafor declared. You will respect her culture, her faith, her strength, and if you ever hurt her, I would die first, Sungmin said simply in careful English. Sir, your daughter saved my life. She saved countless lives by exposing those spies. She is the strongest, bravest, most brilliant woman I've ever met, and I promise you I will spend every day proving I'm worthy of her. There was a long pause. Then, welcome to the family, son. Sungmin's parents were more reserved. Korean formality meeting Nigerian exuberance was cultural whiplash, but his mother took one look at how her son's face lit up when he talked about Naya and said quietly, She makes you happy. That's all I need to know. They married 3 months later in a ceremony that beautifully merged cultures. The morning began with a traditional Korean payback ceremony, Naya in a gorgeous hanbok offering dates and chestnuts to Sungmin's parents, learning the bows and rituals that honored his heritage. The afternoon was pure Nigerian joy, Naya in stunning Yoruba aso-oke fabric, gold and burgundy and brilliant, while Sungmin matched in traditional Nigerian agbada. They danced to Afrobeats and K-pop, feasted on jollof rice and bibimbap, celebrated with American military precision and African exuberance and Korean grace. I can't believe this is real, Naya whispered as they danced, her head on Sungmin's shoulder. I can't believe I almost died without telling you I loved you. I can't believe you screamed loud enough to save both our lives. I can't believe I get to spend forever with you. About that forever, Naya pulled back to look at him, nervous suddenly. I have news. What kind of news? I got a permanent assignment, Walter Reed Medical Center in Washington, D.C., and, she took a breath, the U.S. Army is launching a new program, Korean-American Medical Officer Exchange. Guess who's been asked to co-develop it? Sungmin's eyes widened. Are you saying... I'm saying we'll both be in Washington. You'll be on assignment to develop trauma medicine protocols with U.S. forces. We'll be working together, living together, building a life together. If you want to, that is. If I want to, Sungmin lifted her off her feet, spinning her around, despite protests from their respective mothers about dignity and decorum. Naya, you just gave me everything I didn't know I could have. Yes, 1,000 times yes. 5 years later. The Park Okafor household in Arlington, Virginia was delightfully chaotic. Photos covered the walls, their wedding, family visits, military ceremonies, vacations. The kitchen smelled like a fusion of kimchi stew and Nigerian pepper soup. K-dramas played on one TV while Nollywood movies cued on another. And in the middle of it all, 2-year-old twins, Adana, which means father's daughter in Igbo, and Minjae ran circles around their parents, speaking a wild mix of Korean, English, and Yoruba. Naya, now a major and one of the Army's top trauma surgeons, watched her husband, now also a major, attempt to wrangle both toddlers for bath time. He'd gotten better at it, but the kids had definitely inherited their mother's stubborn streak and their father's strategic thinking. No, Minjae, we don't use tactical maneuvers to escape bath time, Sungmin said in Korean, scooping up his son. But Appa, you said always have escape plan, Minjae protested. Not for hygiene, son, never for hygiene. Naya laughed from the doorway, holding Adana. You're raising tiny soldiers. We're raising tiny heroes, Sungmin corrected, finally getting Minjae into the bathroom, like their mother. Later, after the twins were finally asleep, Sungmin and Naya sat on their porch, watching fireflies and holding hands. Do you ever think about that night? Naya asked quietly. In the jail? Every day. It's when I realized that fear is just love with nowhere to go. I was terrified because I loved you so much already. And when you started screaming, refusing to let them win, Sungmin kissed her hand, that's when I knew you were my forever. I was so scared, Naya admitted, but I couldn't let them hurt you. I couldn't let them win, so I screamed until someone heard us. You always do that, Sungmin said softly. Scream until someone hears. Fight until someone sees. Refuse to be silent in the face of injustice. It's what makes you extraordinary. We make each other extraordinary, Naya corrected. You taught me courage isn't absence of fear. It's loving someone more than you fear losing them. They sat in comfortable silence, 2 soldiers who'd found peace in each other, 2 healers who'd saved each other's lives in more ways than one. Hey, Sungmin said suddenly, want to hear something funny? Always. I got a call today. They're making a documentary about the spy ring exposure, about how we uncovered it. They want to interview us. Oh, God, really? Really, apparently our story is inspiring, he made air quotes. A Nigerian-American army doctor and a South Korean combat medic who fell in love while exposing enemy spies and screaming loud enough to save each other. Naya laughed. When you put it that way, it does sound pretty dramatic. Should we do it? Only if we can tell them the real story, not the sanitized, heroic version, the messy, scary, we were making it up as we went along version, the version where I was terrified and you were broken and we both just refused to give up on each other. Deal. We tell them everything, including how you screamed in 3 languages, including how you proposed from a hospital bed like a dramatic K-drama lead. They laughed together, and somewhere in the house, Adana called out in her sleep, "Uma, Appa." "Duty calls," Naya said, standing. "Together?" Sungmin offered his hand. "Always together," Naya confirmed, taking it. And hand in hand, the soldier and the doctor who'd saved each other in a freezing jail cell walked back into their warm home, their beautiful chaos, their hard-won forever. The documentary, Shh, Don't Talk, the Camp Humphreys spy ring, won awards, but the most powerful moment came at the end when they showed present-day footage of the Park Okafor family. Naya, in her major's uniform, standing in a military hospital, training the next generation of trauma surgeons. Sungmin, also in uniform, teaching tactical medicine to mixed units of Korean and American soldiers. Their twins running between cultures with ease, proof that love transcends borders. And finally, footage from their speech at a military academy. "People ask us what we learned from that night in the jail," Naya said to the crowd of young officers, "what wisdom we can share." Sungmin continued, "We learned that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about being so afraid that your voice shakes and screaming anyway. It's about loving someone so much that you'd face anything, death, danger, uncertainty, just to keep them safe. We learned that sometimes the right person finds you in the worst possible moment," Naya added, her hand finding Sungmin's. "And instead of waiting for a better moment, you hold on tight and make every moment better together. We learned that family isn't about where you're from," Sungmin said, looking at his wife with infinite love. "It's about who you choose, who chooses you, who refuses to give up on you even when everything is falling apart." Naya smiled at the camera. "So if there's one thing we want you to remember, it's this. When life puts you in a position to choose between staying silent or making noise, make noise. Scream until someone hears you. Fight until someone sees you. Love until someone believes you. Because you never know. The life you save might be your own," Sungmin finished, "or it might be someone who becomes your entire world." The screen faded to black, then text appeared. "Major Naya Park Okafor and Major Park Sungmin continue to serve in the U.S. Army Medical Corps. They live in Arlington, Virginia, with their twins and a very loud dog. They still work together, still argue about medical techniques, and still save lives daily. The spy ring they exposed led to 23 arrests across 3 countries and the closure of a major intelligence operation. When asked if they'd do it all again, they both immediately said yes. Because some things are worth screaming for, Naya said. And some people are worth everything, Sungmin added. In our darkest moments, we discover who we really are. And if we're very lucky, we discover who we're meant to become together. The end.